What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. First of all, thank you for joining me today. I kind of feel weird filming this video. I filmed something like this a while ago, like back in 2020, and I think it was like a September reads video, but today we're going to be filming a January reads video, and I want to just bring my love for reading onto this channel. So if you're not a fan of reading, then this probably is not the video for you, and I will catch you next time. But I'm really just trying to get myself out of this travel box, y'all, because I boxed myself in, and there's just so much more to me than the travel life, you know? So don't worry, those videos will still be out here. I love travel, you know, it's a huge passion of mine. So you can still catch the travel content, but I definitely want to diversify what's on this channel. So today we're going to be talking about books and our January reads. I've always been a reader, have always loved to read ever since I was a little kid. But as an adult, I have struggled to kind of find my rhythm as a reader. But if you guys don't know, I think I've said it before, I am also a writer. And if you've ever heard of that age-old advice, that if you want to be a good writer, you got to read. So I'm really trying to take that serious this year. I have a goal to read one book per week, which I feel like is very reasonable, especially because I'm have been cutting back on my social media so much. So I'm trying to fill that time that I would spend scrolling with my head in a book, or actually in my ears, because I've been mostly listening to books. This is not sponsored at all, but I just want to share with you guys the Libby app if you're unfamiliar. I've talked about it before on this channel, but it is a database for people in the US that if you have a library card from your local library, you have access to an online database with thousands of books, audiobooks, ebooks, magazines, newspapers, videos, etc. And yeah, it's a great resource if you are not trying to spend your coin, but you're trying to get this education, then this is a good app for you. Don't ask me why I'm so extra with all that. But I actually only read 3 books this month, and I'm finishing up my last book, which I'll be done before January is over, so that'll put me at the 4 books per month threshold that I'm trying to strive for. So I just want to jump on here just quickly and talk to you guys about the couple books that I read this month, give you some ideas on what to read. Some of them are very popular, one of them maybe not so much, but let's just jump in. Let me know what you're reading. I would love to add more books to my to be read, TBR list, so please tell me what you're reading, and yeah, let's just jump in. So the first book that I read this month was called Black Girl Call Home by Jasmine Mans. Y'all, this struck my heart. This struck my heart with some truth, with some pain, with some laughter. It was such a well-written book. If you guys don't know who Jasmine Mans is, she is a well-known poet on YouTube. She was a part of the collective, which is my favorite poetry collective, called The Strivers Row. If you guys know Alicia Harris, she was on there. Miles Hodges was a part of that. Joshua Bennett was a part of that. So if you guys know poets on YouTube, slam poets, they were all a part of the same collective. And this book is Jasmine's book, and yeah, it's just a beautifully written book. I don't read a lot of poetry, which I'm really working on getting more into poetry, because I read it as a high schooler, but not so much as an adult. And I actually listened to it. Like I said, I listened to Jasmine read this book, and it was just stunning. It was breathtaking. It really made me feel a lot, which is what poetry does, is makes you feel something. So I highly recommend this book for the women out there, the Black women out there, Black brothers out there. It took me 2 hours to finish while listening to it. It's very short and doable. And yeah, Jasmine has an incredible voice, I'll link some of her poetry down below, just her classic pieces on YouTube if you want a little taste of what she writes. But there's this poem about Kanye that is like, whew, she spoke in that poem. And yeah, there's just some really beautiful pieces of, it's kind of like a coming of age poetry novel. I mean, I said poetry novel, poetry book or poetry collection. And yeah, she speaks about, it's kind of a memoir, so to speak. So she speaks about Black death, she speaks about Black joy, Black love, Black womanhood, being a Black woman who's also a lesbian. Like she covers a lot of topics. So definitely check it out, guys. I think you will enjoy it for a quick read. The next book I read was You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. Very popular book, very well known. It's been on my list for a really long time. I found this book to be very enlightening. It did honestly remind me, if you have read Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, Creative Living Beyond Fear or something like that. That is like one of my go-to books. I swear by that book. Big Magic is incredible, and I feel like this book kind of plays off of that a bit, or reminds me a lot of that book. So personally, I would read Big Magic over this book, You Are a Badass, but they're both incredible books that just help you get your mind right. They're both self-help books. You Are a Badass really just tackles your mentality and changing the narrative and the stories that are in your mind so that you can be your full self. There was something that I wanted to read that I got from this book. Hold on, let me find it. Oh yeah. So she was talking towards the end of the book. She talks about the wealth consciousness and how when you are living from a place of lacking, when you are wishing that you had more, you're not coming from a place of wealth consciousness, and how important wealth consciousness is to reach financial wholeness or freedom. And so something she said that really struck me was, I'm no longer being a person who takes what she can get, but being a person who creates the life she wants. Once you decide, there's no room for negotiation. Up level your idea of what's possible. That's a paraphrase, but I love that idea. And I spent some time after this book really thinking about what I wanted. I read it right at the first of the year, so it was perfect time to read it. And I am not lying to you guys. When I finished this book, I took probably an hour to think about what I want. I wrote some stuff down, and within an hour and a half of me doing that, I get a job offer from a job I didn't even apply to. Okay, and it's a job that I really want, and I'm now have the job. So wealth consciousness and just realizing that I can have more, I can be more, I can expand my idea of what's possible for myself and my life is a really powerful mental space to step into. And I'm telling you, within 2 hours I had a job offer with the pay, with the position that I wanted, the title that I wanted. I can't believe it. So I won't say I highly suggest this book, but I will suggest this book if you are living in a lot of doubt and a lot of comparison, or if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling stagnant. I think this was a great book to help get you out of that space. And then the next book I read was Untamed by Glennon Doyle, another very popular book, very well-known book. But I just wanted to read some self-help books, and yeah, that's the one I chose. So Untamed by Glennon Doyle is all about letting the wild woman free, letting go of that good girl persona, letting go of playing small, all of those things, of breaking through and being your freest, fullest, truest expression of self. I found this book very interesting, very engaging. I really, really appreciated this book. I felt like I got some gems from it. And I'm gonna read a couple gems that I wrote down just so you guys can have them too. It says, "It is a blessing to know a free woman. Sometimes she will stop by and hold up a mirror for you. She will help you to remember who you are." I think I have a lot of issues with jealousy and envy and comparison, and it all stems from this lack of insecurity or lack of self-worth. And when I see free women, it can make me feel less than. And so hearing that quote, I don't know, just struck me that like a free woman is a mirror. It can be a mirror for you if you let it, or a free person, not just woman, because I know there's all types of people on my channel, but a person in their fullest expression of themselves, instead of letting that dim your light or letting their energy intimidate you, realizing that it's a mirror and that what you see in them is something that is resonating within you, and to dig deep to bring that out of you. So that was something that really struck me. And then there was this part about, like I said, I've been taking this whole social media detox and trying to be off my phone, and there's something that she talks about how our phone stops boredom, and how boredom is so crucial for creativity. because when you have time to think and sit and kind of conjure up ideas, that's when creativity comes to life. But when you're constantly plugged into and scrolling and in another world, you don't get that time to think and be have space to think and be yourself. So she said something that goes like this: the moment after we don't know what to do with ourselves is the moment that we find ourselves. After issue boredom is self-discovery. We have to hang in long enough without bailing. I really like that. I'm just gonna leave that with you. I don't really have anything else to say to that, of just staying in that moment and seeing what comes up instead of trying to run away from where you're at. And she said something called revelation must come before a revolution. And I love that quote. I truly believe that's real, that you have to open your eyes to even see that something's happening before you can revolutionize a moment. So just some food for thought. And there's another one about overthinking that she says, imagination can be a dangerous thing when you let it eclipse your knowing. So when you let your mind just run off and you know what's right, that can be really dangerous. I think she actually talks about this a lot, is you know what you know, and the knowing. And kind of for me, I interpreted the knowing as my intuition, as God's voice, as this higher guidance, that you just know when you know something to trust and lean into that. I feel like this book really tackles following your knowing, following your intuition, just being guided and listening to that. So I am also reading, hold on, it's on my phone right now, another poetry book called, let's see, I should know what it's called. Hold up. Oh, Don't Call Us Dead by Denez Smith. I'm gonna be done with this today, and I don't really want to include it in this book talk because I'm not finished with it, but it is a poetry collection that talks a lot about Black Death and what happens to our sons once they're killed and no longer with us. And y'all, it's a heart-pulling, heart-wrenching collection to read, but beautiful. And the ideas that I have implanted in my mind recently from this collection is really sparking something for me. So I definitely would not read that if you're not in a position or space to carry something so heavy, but if you are, it's a beautiful read. And I guess I will just include it in this book. I didn't finish it as of yet when I'm filming this, but by the time I finish editing this book, it will be finished. So maybe Don't Call Us Dead by Denez Smith is a collection of poetry that I think is really worth reading when you have space and capacity to hold such kinds of work. But yeah, guys, that's all. I don't really have nothing else profound to talk about. I know this wasn't really that profound. I'm just sharing my thoughts on these books. So if you've read any of them, please let me know what you thought of them, what you took away. What are you currently reading? I am always looking for book suggestions, even though I have like hundreds of books to go through or tens of books to go through. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. If you would like more of these reading videos, I would love to do them. I'm thinking about doing some reading vlogs and just kind of keeping up to date with my monthly reading list. And yeah, I would love to just talk to you guys more about books because I love books. I feel like time travel or a way, if you are wanting to travel but don't have the ability to, see how we connecting it full circle to the channel? Okay, if you are not able to travel right now, reading is such an amazing way to get out of this world and into a new one. So I would highly suggest finding a good book, especially fiction. If you're trying to just travel and just have a new world, otherworldly experience, get you a fiction book. But really get a book. Just read a book. They're so good for you. It's so good to feed your mind new ideas and concepts. But yeah, let me stop running my mouth. Thank you guys for watching this video. I appreciate and love you guys so much. And yeah, thank you for the support as always. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.